Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Find Your First Client by Creating Stories. With us, we have Sagar and me, Vikram. And in today's episode, we will talk about the case study that our volunteer has done and share some numbers, some actions or activity that has been performed, and some results of it. So, welcome. So who is our client? So basically, if you remember, we have a framework. In the framework, there are 5 questions. And the second question is, who is your client? And in this case study, that person was asked the first step of this particular question is list down 5 profession around the topic. The volunteer, as you know, has chosen the topic of sales. So these are the 5 professions. So we have kept it a bit more generic so that it explains you what kind of profession that can be. So one is a sales coach, corporate trainer, author. The second one is the hiring team of a sales. So this is an allied profession related to the topic. Not actually, they are not a part of the sales, but they help companies to hire sales team. So it's a different skills. Then there are sales consultant, the actual people who are doing one of freelancers or individual consultant who brings you opportunity leads, and then you can convert them into clients and all. And fourth is sales leadership manager, VP. So any leadership position who has 5, 10, 1500, in some cases there are 5,000, 10,000 sales team under like a chief sales officer or those kind of a role. But we don't see that often. So but in general, sales leadership, any managerial kind of role. The last one is sales professor. Very specific here, a top colleges sales professor was one of the thing that was selected. Yeah, so till fourth, it was easy for the volunteer to select, and Sagar mentioned that fifth one was struggling, and then they were discussing between chief sales officer and sales professor, but then we didn't find more people active on Twitter in this particular case, so we went with sales professor. So these were the 5 profession that was listed. And then yeah, the question was to ask 10 people from each professor, so 50. So this is the data. First time we are sharing some data. So so for all the first 4 topic which naturally came, we got 10 tweets each. So the person has done his job. And 3 for sales professor, obviously there were not more people. And there is a 3-way tie. I mean, this is much more complicated than what we thought it could be. First of all, only one response, very obvious, people are busy. And also I want to as we are doing this live in the way like we are doing 1 week at a time. So last week the person did that. So during the period of 6 days, that person has done, investing few hours each day or here and there. So people might, somebody might not be active, or they come to Twitter once a month, or if we don't know. So it could be possible that next week we might get some answer. If we do, we will try to share with you and see what the result is. But we will go ahead with our uh, process and the steps, and we'll pick one out of three. Now there is, I mean, one is like we it's not as they say in statistic, it is not statistically significant enough to make any decision. So you need at least good numbers to make some decision. But there is also a saying by Gary Vaynerchuk that one is better than zero. So if you have a video and if you have zero views, it's better to have at least one view. So at least we have one response. Not not can't be write off. So at least there are one individual, and we are only looking for the first client. So we already have 3 prospects. One of them could be our client. We'll see what happens. So the shortlisting part is pretty could be challenging, and me and Sagar and the volunteer kind of had a discussion before we picked. And here we will share the tie, and then we will share what we decided to pick and also the reason behind it. So yeah, so the tie primarily is between the sales consultant and sales leadership. So one, uh, so so this so with, just to give you a bit of a context, the sales consultant started with an objection, saying that about the market and criticizing and a bit of an objection in the way a particular post or more active on social media should be. But then that person kind of the volunteer interacted. I tried to understand the objection, and then the person was more interactive. But what we found that that person is not posting a lot of content. And so even though the person is active in the sense of if someone tags, the person replies to the either on mobile or web, we don't know, but the person is active, but there is not a lot of content. On the second hand, there is a sales leadership person who not only agreed, but given a good explanation what more they should be doing, which is that they should be trying in all possible platform. Definitely that person is in a leadership position, so that person wants to influence. And uh, uh, I think it also shows that the person has been in the profession for quite a long time to understand the power of social media, and also agrees to it from that. And the person is also more active, like in last 12 hours also that person has tweeted something, which is very rare in some cases, like original post. uh, so these are the two ties. And now me and Sagar picked different option. So Sagar picked the option one, that is sales consultant, and I picked option two of sales leadership. I want Sagar to tell why, what were the reasons. And we are doing this kind of an brainstorming or discussion activity, so that you can see both the point of view. And you may think whatever, I can leave in the comments like whichever, what would you have chosen, but this is what our points are. Sagar, also yours.
Ye- Yeah, so yeah, I go with sales consultant, and the reason he picked sales consultant, I found it very important here, because the guy is active in his media and in his platform, but he don't have that required content to post. That's a assumption again. You don't know what actually it is till you get a response from it. In other point, the sales guy or sales leadership or a manager guy who has good amount of, if you have seen the content is also really good, and he's following a certain path, and he has standard format, and you think there is a good supportive team with him already, which is doing the job. We don't know, again, the assumptions. So to be in much more safer side, as this guy is good in interaction, good be happy to be on social media interacting and all those stuff, I believe the freelancer or the sales consultant should work good. You never know.
Thanks, Sagar, for that input. So yeah, so that's what Sagar's pick, and I might pick a leadership role here, because firstly, as I explained to Sagar sometime back or in our last call, is that the person is already posting, or person is more active in that. So what we are our solution will only improve the person's uh, uh, efficiency. And so that there is like, we don't have to sell them the idea is already like, they know the value of posting. And they, what we are selling is, we are doing, giving you something that you can post daily with a reminder, so that you don't have to worry about it, and just have to click couple of buttons and your post is live. That's first thing. Second thing, I think what I think Sagar might kind of as I mentioned, this is statistically not significant. So we can't make decision of individual. So in both cases, the other person in the same tribe can behave differently. So based on one person making a decision could be a bit more risky in the sense. So see, this is an experiment. The right and wrong we will only know after we do the next steps, which are three more steps. But these are the two main thing, and there are a couple of other flags. Like if you see, if you have watched the previous video, what we have mentioned is your client should be in the bracket where they are minimum, at minimum they are earning 1 lakh rupee per month, is what your target client is. And there are many people out there in India who are doing that, and the probability of sales leadership doing that is higher, is based on our experience and our I mean, we both are been in the industry for many years now, so we know like a standard package will cover that. So that's one thing. And then now, I mean, while doing this whole conversation, also I can think out loud is, again, as I mentioned, like if someone is doing already something to make it more efficient, is lot easier than someone is not posting and then making them to post. So it's not that they might not, but this is what I particularly feel. Now, what we can do next here is either we can go with my suggestion or Sagar's suggestion, any which ways. And if you see the framework, if you have remember the, if you go back and watch the first episode, the link, the playlist link is already there, so you can watch all the episode. But in the first episode, I've shown the framework in format of a circle. It's a cycle. So the further steps, what either you can do, either pick one or do the next steps, or you can do pick both and do one at a time. So do complete one cycle with one step and then pick another, whichever you feel like. What Sagar and I decided is like we will go with leadership, primarily with two reasons. Firstly, the most important reason is neither of what I and Sagar discuss. It only because their pay bracket is 1 lakh above per month, so they can afford the product, and at least in the pricing section, they should be affordable, and we kind of know just by looking at it. And also an added thing is, if they are more active, that's another signal for us to continue with it. So yeah, so after the discussion that we are doing here, so we select this uh, in the case study, like we'll go and we'll try the future experiment on sales leadership with the role of profession of sales leadership. It can be manager, VP, whatever. We are keeping it a bit broad because we are experimenting, so we are still figuring out what is the right kind of client, and before we find the first client. And the next step in the question is, where do you find your client? So another important question to answer. So hope to see you guys in the next episode. Sagar, any last thought before
Uh,
we?
yeah. Just wanted to make one point clear. Even if the consultant, whatever we had another option, is he has a need, but as you rightly mentioned, will be capable enough to pick up the idea. That's a really good point, I believe, which we need to have that consideration of our. You can say that first law of this whole process. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, this experiment, I believe, will sometimes remove some laws and add some laws, and
yeah.
it's gonna set
So
some
yeah, I
standards.
mean, law is a big word. I think guidelines could be a better word. So we will have some guidelines to help us navigate in the right direction. And even if you see the original idea, and during when we discuss, also the link of that is also in the description below. It's a 40-minute video, and we describe everything end to end. I talked something about law of diffusion of innovation, and in which there are innovator, early adopter, early majority, late majority, and laggards. What we have to always keep in focus while running this kind of experiment or while trying something new is we want to focus on the front people, the people who are innovative and people who are early adopters. So early adopter is someone, like a good example, if there is a new iPhone out, there are few people who are standing outside the store overnight and sleeping there. So those people are early adopter. They are early adopter of the iPhone or any gadget comes out. Some people wants the first copy, or if there is a movie out now, we can't go out and watch movie in theaters. I'm sure I hope we can do that someday. But there are people who wants to see the first day, first show. So there are those kind of people who are early adopter. So what we during the experiment we have to focus on them, and so that for them, if they like the idea, they will take it. Like that's how fast they are in making their decision. They are not, well, they don't want other people to first try and see if they are bringing any results or not results. They have to take this service as an experiment, if I may say that. They have to be open enough to so they can, firstly they need to afford it, and then they need to be open enough to try that experiment. And at least they should be some kind of people okay, I can at least put 30 story. Let me see what happens after I pay 3,100 and get my 30 story up 100 rupees for per story, formatted nicely. Every day at some time I'm getting a reminder. I can post it on all my platforms, all the stories and everything. I can even share it with my team. They can post it. I can share it with my family. They can post it. So basically for 100 rupees you are giving, you at least can give that photo to 10 people and they can post in 5 platform. That means you can post one story in 50 platform, which can bring you some leads or which can give you more exposure. So if you see, that means there is 2 rupees per post that you are getting, and each post might get at least 10 views, the minimum view. If you are posting it on WhatsApp, you will definitely get 100 views. If you have 1500 connections or anything, I get a minimum of 200 views on all my WhatsApp statuses, whatever I post. Normally it gets. So if you consider only 10 out of it, so I mean, for per post, for 2 rupees you are getting 10 views. That means for 1 rupee you are getting 5 views. That means for 20 paise you are getting 1 view. So if someone can afford 20 paise for 1 view of your of your subject matters, or in this case it could be sales, and it's a generic kind of a more inspiring and kind of pushing and sharing, and people already know who you are. If they don't know, they will at least ask you, why are you posting this every day, the same thing, and they might start an interaction. And as you have, you must see one of the videos where I posted about stories are hits, where one of the person tried this for 30 days and they have got 2 clients, which is way like, I can only say that it's in more than a lakh of a business, combined business, at least the minimum. I don't know the numbers, but the kind of business they are in, at least that should be the minimum. So if suppose that person has done that in house, like they did it, it's easy for you to also do. But then that person has stopped posting now because it takes time and then it takes effort and you can't be consistent. So that's the reason you add this value, or where someone is doing it for you because they are getting paid. So suppose for 3,000, that's the reason we are creating this whole podcast series. That's the reason we have decided, because we want to break it down step by step, so that if that person for 3,000, if that person get one new client per month, that is a transaction worth trying. And it's, as I mentioned, I will keep this talking about this. For one, you get one view for 20 paise or something like that. So I think, yeah, I will do the math correctly and I will say one view for 20 paise is the motto
I mean,
here.
yeah, good motto. And I mean, I guess you need certain level of experience to calculate that, which
Yeah.
can't be done by a guy who is not earning less than 1 lakh.
Yeah, so if that person is earning 1 lakh, and if we can see that if 3,000, putting 3,000, if making 1 lakh each month, or even if putting for 2 months, if they're getting a business of 1 lakh, that person needs to think about it. Is it worth, anyways, that business was never going to come, and if it is coming from this channel, why not take the opportunity and why not try it out? The only reason I'm again emphasizing, you would want to hire, is because somebody will give you a reminder and also give you the post of 30 days at one shot. And they will also, I mean, when they give a reminder, they can also go and check on their different posts and see if they have posted or not, and they can remind you the next day you have not posted yesterday and all those kind of thing. And you need someone to do that. And if there is a consistency, as they say, it takes, recent research shows that it takes 66 days to build a habit. So if you do that for 2 months, that builds up your habit, and everyone is like waiting for you to post, and then you kind of have a captive audience or captive people who are following you. And remember, there are other people who kind of remember you, and they don't might not interact with you, but you will be on their mind, and whenever there is a opportunity that comes in, you will be the first person they will speak to. Today was a little bit of a bigger episode. We went on a rant, but I think it was nice to have a chat with Sagar again.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Vikram. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, people, for this.
Thank you very much for watching. If you have any of your cousins or any of the family member who are looking for side income, share this video with them. Let them watch it. It's free. So hit the like button, subscribe, share, do everything, spread the word. See you next week. Bye bye.